beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Alchemist and the Oracle, where we engage in spiritualized conversations that deepen understanding, inspire transformation, and spark meaningful dialogue about life's most profound truths. I am Nicole Love, the Oracle, and I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Warrioress Aredeshir A'ren, also known as the Alchemist. So today we are continuing the conversation of me interviewing her, just kind of getting some more insight and understanding around who she is as the alchemist and how she's gotten to the point in the place of what she does and how she serves the world. So welcome to the Alchemist and the Oracle.
Hey, y'all.
So if you have watched this and haven't seen the previous episode, be sure to check that out. It goes in a little bit more detail. It lays the foundation, I think, beautifully so. So I have a tribute message because I was trying to figure out which one I wanted to share. So I'm like, hey, we're doing two, so I can share them in two different ones. So I'm gonna
that's right.
I'm gonna read my tribute message to you. So today we don't just celebrate another trip around the sun, we celebrate a revolution of spirit, a reclamation of truth, a remembrance of power, raw, real, and reborn. Warrioress Aredeshir A'ren, you have walked through the fire with purpose, faced the weight of systems designed to harden the heart, and still you chose softness. You choose sovereignty, you choose self. You traded in a badge for a blade of truth, a uniform for authenticity, and instead of enforcing law, you now liberate souls. You alchemize ego into essence, fear into fire, and pain into power. For every person you've held through their unraveling, for every illusion you've helped destroy with love, and for every truth you've dared to live out loud, we thank you. Your life is a blueprint for what it means to rise, and your presence is permission for others to do the same. Happy birthday to the storm and the stillness, to the soldier turned soul worker, to the woman who reminds us that it's not about surviving the war, it's about remembering who you were before it began. We honor you, we celebrate you, we rise with you.
Oh, thank you. It made me cry. Okay.
I think I like that one a little
That
bit
was
better.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Both of them were
They hold their own.
Yeah.
So again, thank you for answering these questions. I know that like you have cracked open in such a way. Like if you go back and look at the videos, you can see how much more I feel like the closet, this is a really horrible example, but the closet door is open and she comes in the closet, right? Now I feel like you're not even, there's not a door of entry. But there is an invisible barrier of access.
Oh, there's definitely that's definitely it. Yeah.
So we're gonna get into like the spiritual part. Like we talked about foundation, your childhood, and how you started your spiritual journey and what have you. So the first question is
okay.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
Did you want to say something?
I integrated into the question. That's cool.
So the first question is, how do you define ego alchemy? And if this feels aligned for you to answer, how does it differ from just shadow work or healing? Like, what does ego alchemy mean for you as you see it as the transmuting the ego alchemy and action coach that you are?
Well, actually, ego alchemy encompasses all that. I mean, even the shadow work, because about transferring the ego is shaping a sense of self, your true and authentic self, and transmuting that by identifying certain things of your fears, your desires, and the attachments that we have. It's more like I tell people, and then integrating your consciousness into self-awareness, like, and being aware is just like catching yourself at certain things, and that's how you know that you have grown. It's like I was one example is something was going on here with my face, and so it was very interesting. So I'm talking with one of the MP, nurse practitioner, and I was saying something about I'm going to attempt to do yada yada, and I called myself, and I'm like, I said I will do yada yada yada. I said, okay, I'll
Mm.
do this. Because yeah, and so it's just about catching that, or when you're out in public, how you see yourself. So in holding back from this defensiveness and going back and forth with somebody who is quite not aware of their actions and that and how we affect one another. So, like when I found out and kind of understand alchemy, I always talk about, because gold is one of my favorite, metals. It is April metal. I didn't know that it was. I liked gold before I knew why. I like diamonds before I knew why.
Oh, that's so
And
interesting
things
because
of
that's
that.
your birthstone, metal and stone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, gold and diamonds. Yeah, I had no clue to realize that it's just this natural thing. And so, like when people are trying to take metals and changing stuff into gold, this is the same thing, because once you get it there, you can't go back. It will never go back to the metals and stuff that in the way that you use them to get it to this here gold. And so when you're looking at that, you're trying to transmute the ego-based things that are going on in your mind, like pride, like defensiveness, the insecurities, these limiting beliefs, and getting into turning them into being and connecting with your authenticity, humility, and then that's the word that I still work with, compassion and clarity. My whole thing is to help people take that, and turn, their undecisiveness, if there are other things, into clarity, into passion through, different levels of coaching and things of that nature, and examples and stories. So, and then people say, come to find out you can't get rid of ego, you want to tame it. So it's not about getting rid of it, it's about redefining the illusions. And, and never knew it was the deceptive intelligence that we have. And I have to keep working it, because it's this fight to understand, the okay to feel your feelings, but don't sit in them. Understand that you don't need to seek approval from anyone when you become that authentic self. And the shadow work is actually encompassed in the alchemy, in transferring the ego into, and to get it at a level kill, because it's going to be there to protect, but you just have to be aware when it comes up, when it's trying to keep you small and lessen, and that's the battle. That's the battle within. I have a piece called Divided, and there's different levels of it, and wrote this really many years ago, um and it's definitely about that tug and pull that we have going on within. It's like having observation without judgment. Man, if anybody judges, we can judge ourselves, in such a really awful way. The shadow work, I mean, is all encompassed with that transformation of integrating any repressed stuff, and some of that stuff is deep, and how we've denied the true aspects of ourselves, which we do. So, that's how that's incorporated, and letting go of rigid identities. People say you need to fake it till you make it. I don't like that anymore. I don't think that's it. It's to stand in your power that you are until you get where you desire to be. And sometimes with I understand that there's shifts that have to be made. And sometimes the way that some people you get into training this and that is not the way that might be for you. So you have to look at, what is good for you in these transformationists and going deep within yourself. And we don't really want to sit. I didn't really want to sit, and I'm looking at doing more of the shadow work so I can really, really, really clear out people pleasing behaviors. And they look a certain different way at certain times that I have to catch that. I barely seldom ask anybody for anything, but we are here to ask people for what we need, and people miss out on something. So people were missing out. That had some limiting beliefs, that I was struggling, that I was, you know, having things going on for the reason people, are not showing up. People don't invest, a lot and then don't want to do anything. That doesn't make any sense. So there's a lot of things going on, you know, want to cultivate presence and have that self-compassion, that even at this stage that I continue to try to give myself and honor myself with, and what we need to honor ourselves with. Doing the ego alchemy, and that is doing the inner work so you can evolving the ego into a reactive self-protective mechanism, into a conscious, from a reactive self, like I said, in other things where I come to find out in front of that it's a protective mechanism, and turn it into a conscious service one for our highest and deepest purpose.
Mm.
So that's kind of what that is about. And
Ego
as I
Alchemy.
continue to look, yeah, of how I walk in the world, or when I go into city, or when I'm driving, and the chaotic and the recklessness that's going on. Matter of fact, was it yesterday? I was out twice. And coming back that way, I had driven that. No, which way did I come back? I think I came back that same way, but on one of our interstates, I come back and I had to dive back into um um across town, and was on the interstate. And not long after I had got back, I wasn't even going back there, and there was a car turned over on its side, wheels
Mm.
just all tore up. I couldn't see the other car, but there, because I didn't want a long neck, I either look and see what I got to see and I can receive it. But the slowdown, I'm like, is there an accident on our side? So I see all these lights, for example, and they're over on the other side, and people are long necking. You can't drive for trying to see it. You can't do anything. People are behind us. Take a look, pray for them, do whatever you do, or feel well, whatever that is for you, and wish them well, and keep this side of our traffic moving. So that was the holdup, is everybody was looking at what happened, because from what I could feel I didn't catch the news. I would think that it was on it, that this was probably a horrible accident, because this car, this literally car was on its side.
Oh,
And I'm trying to realize whether or not it was on the driver's side. And it was this away.
just one
Um,
vehicle?
I think there had to be another vehicle involved. Now, sometimes you can have reckless, and you can have
Yeah, I've
single
seen just
accidents,
one. Yeah. I was just
but I
wondering if you
couldn't,
saw more
because I
than one.
wasn't trying. I put, my little clarifiers on. I was trying to see, but because I wasn't trying to long neck, and I wanted to make sure I didn't hit the person in front of me because of how tight it was, that there might, I feel that there was another vehicle possibly.
Hmm.
And so,
Interesting.
and I come back to that we have to slow down. So I use, driving as examples, where one of my uses physical fitness to make his analogies and things of that nature. I could probably go there, but obviously driving is my natural go-to. So that's where I go when I look at how I've shifted, how I've shielded from the thickness and the chaotic energy that's emitting from people. And I use driving because of the way they've been driving. We got people, the average speed shouldn't be the average speed of 80. And then you got people I mean, going in and out, going in and out. And I try to make sure that there's enough space because I still want an old school drive. There is barely nobody letting you have 3 car lengths in front of you. That's just hard to come by. I'd probably never get where I was going if I kept backing off. So I'm just at 3 car lengths anyway. I'm just saying. So
It's too
to
many cars on the road. That's
to give
part of
you
the issue.
enough time that when you're about to pull over on somebody or to do lane changing, that you give enough in front of them to go in front of them so you don't have to brake. But that's not the case. So one car was going in and out, then went in another person and then did that. And that is the that's what you don't want to do. So if you get into like traffic, some people we come and drive like what we're around, and that's an awareness that I have to keep aware of not to get into that practice period of driving like that. Just to stay in there, but to keep up with traffic, hold traffic, you have to run with them a little bit. But I'm not choosing to run 80 all the time. Two is too much gas. Two, my baby, she's older than most, and we just like cruising. I like moving, but in the essence of cruising. So you have to become aware of that. And because I'm so intuitive, I normally can tell when somebody's about to do something before they do it. I can tell when I'm about to be cut off. I can tell when somebody's about to move when they don't use a blinker. Um, and things of that nature. And then you have to be aware of if they slow down and the movement of the cars. And it can help you in your driving. I actually wanted to teach it. So when I
Mm.
look at the shift of that is to become a more aware of your present self and do that. So, you and then getting to a point where like this can't go back to its original state of how it was made. It will not, it would end up looking something interesting, I'm sure. And so that purpose is getting to that state of alchemy where you can't go back. And even if you tried, you'd be like, ooh, that don't feel good. Where you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to get to that, and I'm there. I cannot go back. It's just like, okay, I need to know that I know enough, I have enough. Now I need to take everything that I have, the people such as yourself that's been put in my line of path and move forward for the sake of humanity. It's 111. So it is that messages are coming all the time. So that's where you want to be and sit in and that becoming, not thinking or doing or reacting. It's like people are going in their attitude or something happened, they're going from 0 to 100. And I remember running to a woman at this radio station, and she said, I used to go from 0 to 10 like that. And so basically, she said, I've done that. So she's doing some work, you know, to woosah in the moment. And I might have mentioned Tiger Woods or anybody who said like after having a bad shot. Now I know because we like to just do the best we can, but we just have to feel kind of where we mess up. So like if he has a bad stroke, he's like, he was like, taking 3 steps back, but it's like 3 seconds or 5 seconds on to the next, swing or next hole, however that may be. Um, and moving forward and just making corrections along the way. That's what we're doing. That's what you want to do,
Hmm.
you know. So the shadow work and all that, and all this is the process of healing. So
That's
it's
a,
not separate, it's integrated.
so building upon what you're saying, I think it leads really well into the next question
Mhm.
that leans into how you like if someone was to work with you, right? As like you're the coach, I hire you as a coach. How
Mhm.
do you help others face that inner sovereignty, that inner authority instead of seeking external control or validation? Like the
Uh,
ego kind of taking over. Like what what is it like? Like how do you take someone through that process?
So I have several processes. Depending on the individual, it would, dang, I lost the word again. It would vary. That's what. So it varies upon the individual, but the core of what I would do is the same thing that I do for myself. Now the outer, looking for the outer, if some is limiting beliefs come in when we're seeking outer validation. And I know that very well, depending on how you were. And as a child, you're looking for that. You don't get it. You're trying to be, this perfect person, this, that, and the other. So I, my whole thing is to take you and give you a series of questions to answer first. So I can get a basis upon what you may be seeking and give me a little bit of information how I help. Also helping them connect within through a series of meditations, a series of journaling, certain prompts, certain things like that to base on. Because sometimes as people want what they want, but you technically end up giving them what they need,
Mm-hmm.
what they don't know. And I know that even for me, we want this and that, but we end up giving what we need. And what I needed was to identify that I had a lot of limiting beliefs running me under a title of perfectionism, which is not just the title of itself. So my spirit had me research and figured something was more to perfectionism than was not. And so we have a lot of us out, and even women and mothers trying to be right, trying to do this. We have, a lot of belief systems that don't serve us, and some of them keep us small. So you just have to go through a series of coachings, a series of having people do certain things, answer certain questions based upon them to do that. And I might do it a little bit more individualized, even though there's some central questions you would ask, and just take them through that process. And then like you or like me, I would and some things will come out from that, especially like a one-on-one kind of basic interview. Some things will come out, and then you can find out where the resistance is, or the pull, or this that is. And sometimes we don't really like to express some of those beliefs, or some of those shadows that we have within, and some of those are, around our belief systems. So you take them through a process of that, coaching, the interaction, and getting to where you have aha moments. And I can use some of my examples to get them to have aha moments. And what people don't understand, I don't have to know what you're going through to understand what you're going through, because some of us go through similar stuff. It just looks different, you know.
Yeah.
So that.
So you talked about the belief system that, you mentioned this belief system, right? So when you take that into consideration, and like how you do what you do, what would you say are some of the lies that people cling to in the name of um
Oh my
being
God.
strong, or maintaining a certain level of a sense of control?
We wear a lot of masks. Fear of failure is one of them. We do a lot of self-criticism that really hurts us. I mentioned seeking validation. That's outer instead of going within, because if we sit, the other thing is being still, where we can kind of connect into that. There's a numerous amount of limiting beliefs, and because I've chosen, I forget some of them. I think I got them here somewhere, and I forgot them because I have chosen to, and this did some hard work here up in March, with my second unleashing the power within, and realizing that I really wanted to hit and dismantle those um, belief systems, um, fear of failure, fear of success. Um, man, I used to could spit them out. Excuse me for not doing so, because I've totally chosen to forget them. Um,
But I
but
think that's
those,
a big,
yeah,
those are pretty big.
they are pretty big. They're really the fear of failure.
Yeah, that's
I
a
mean, even young.
huge one because they're all kind of layered essentially too. It looks
So
different for
yeah,
different
most
people.
people.
Hmm.
So Tony Robbins makes this, he's like, if you got fear of failure, fear of success, you're screwed. So I had to look at them because I remember by someone that was very, very, who opened up to me,
if you have
And
fear of
so,
failure, you're screwed.
and a fear, and a, no, a fear of failure and a fear of success,
Oh, so
which
it
I
has,
think
okay, hand in hand. Okay, I'm there with you. I'm there.
Yeah, he says this and that, and you have both. It's funny how he says almost the same all the time. And so I had to look at them because I had someone tell me I had a fear of success, and I'm like, a fear of success. And I really couldn't, I wasn't able to compute that. But fear of failure and fear of success are kind of almost the same. And so to a degree, but this is how I looked at them. Fear of success was for me was like, if I get to this certain status and this person got there, and I think it's about whether you can maintain it. Do we have it in us to maintain? Like, you own this company, you doing good. Can I keep it at this level? Can I continue to serve people at a higher level? You're CEO of your own this, you're this. How can I stay there? Then the fear of failure is that if I attempt to do this, am I going to fail at it? So they're almost kind of, it's like, okay, I'm gonna try to do this. And so we fear that we fail, that we don't do anything at all. That is just so violent to ourselves. And I still have to work through that. I get it you know. So my fear of failure is that if I attempt to do A, B, and C, or I attempt to be this coach, I got to be this way, that way, and that way. I'm not sure that I could hold my clients. Then I'm not going to do anything at all.
Mm,
So,
mm,
and for my instance, is taking my knowledge and hopefully connecting, with the people that connect with me. And that's all I can do. Is nothing I can do about it. It just is what it is. There's some people who connect with our spiritual man, some people don't. Some people connect with another one. And we have to be okay with that, and it can't be personal. And I just try to honor to come from a dynamic using my feminine and masculine energies to be able to connect with you, man or woman. That I do. I have that. And having grown up primarily around masculine energy, oh, I definitely get it. And honoring that other. So fear of failure is probably one of the biggest things. And fears of success is that line. Can I maintain any success that I get? And one of the guys was successful, and then we send to sabotage. And we sabotage. We sabotage if we made it. We sabotage if we ain't even attempted. So, and
mm.
then seeking validation outside of ourselves, looking for somebody's approval. And then if they don't, then we go back in again. So that is we have to go within and seek and write, and we are being guided when we don't know it, but our ego self and any things that have happened to us in the past will kind of overshadow that natural natureness of it until you're able to have help to become aware of that. So I'm very aware of my innateness, and some things can come to you in a millisecond. We'll dismiss it. We'll dismiss it in a moment. And I use the car analogy. It's like, if I'm gonna turn left and this car got it and I know that I can get it, if I don't do it then you need to wait till the car passes. And that's how a lot of turn accidents happen. And then
So,
people misjudging the speed of a car.
so would you say what you just shared, which is learning to trust your intuition and lean into that? Would you say that that is a truth that you have learned about what real strength is? Or is there
Yes.
something else? Is there
There's
another
a
truth that you could say you've learned about real strength on top of that that you feel like you want to kind of elaborate? on?
I didn't know if we had got to that question, but yeah, I mean, people hang on to a lot of false beliefs about who they are in their strength. It's the mask. It's just like the several masks I had to wear just to walk in who I was, and to be able to have to know everything. We don't know everything. I know a lot of stuff. And then the more that I understood this term about the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yes, girl.
Um,
Yes. It's
so
true.
and I love the fact that I was so open to so many things from, I mean, I've laid floor and tile and I, until you get into a point, I think in the younger stages, we have a fearlessness that definitely needs to be tapped into. As we get older, we need to tap into, but we need to stay in that youthfulness of fearlessness. But we get to this, and then the whole thing about keeping a roof over our head, I get it. I get it. Because I can relate, you know, I
Yeah.
can relate.
We all want
And
that sense of security and stability.
yes, almost, yeah, that's
And
huge to
I
me,
mean
but
that
I
comes
want
from
more.
childhood. Yeah.
Wanting more is just that I want to be able, also a desire to be able to encompass. It's just like, man, just anything. I don't know that I would want to own a Beamer, but you look at certain people cars and how they acquire that for me, it's not about other people. It's about me walking up to my car, me getting into it and liking that, oh my God, I got a vet and what it feels like to drive it. I haven't driven it yet. It was a dream car, but I don't even know if I'm gonna like it, but
Mm,
I got to get in it. So I'm gonna have to rent one. So
that's an easy
but
fix.
I've had some other cool cars. I mean, I just realized that sometimes we have to be patient. Sometimes we put ourselves in financial binds that we did not necessarily need to do that for the sake of how we think we need to be and look. So my car has
Mm,
been through some stuff here in my town. She still shine. I still wash her. I got to spray this other part so it ain't so visible, but she still walks and still gets compliments, which is beyond me because of the little front little situation and some other stuff. But I treat her with the God energy that gets me from point A to point B because everybody likes to be able to get to point A to point B on their own. And how you look doing it, but it's how you stand in it. I walk like that car is a Beamer. Not a Beamer, I'm sorry, a Bentley.
let me say, I don't know about a Beamer.
No, I don't know about Beamer. I just said Beamer, so it was a B. I knew I meant Bentley.
Okay.
So I act like it's a Bentley until I get the Bentley.
Okay.
And even not getting it, just renting it
A
would be
Bentley.
cool.
They're really cool it's a cool experience to be driven in one. I like
Mm,
because
mm.
it's just the internal design and such is just
Yes.
so like, ooh, the lights.
I know. I do. I've seen a couple of them that of the two doors. I didn't like how the back end was, so I'm a back end kind of girl. So if the car has got to look good in the front and the back end has got to be attractive as well. If that
Yeah,
ain't it, I'm not
yeah,
buying it. I just can't
yeah.
do it for a certain amount of money or maybe have it altered. But so I look at that and that's alchemy too. So, to design something, a car, to take a car from certain dynamic materials and like the 63 vet was a one mold and to take that and mold that into one body style that had this look and then have the double split back windows. So you look at the nature of the creativity of transforming something into something so beautiful. And so that's what you want to do for you.
Hmm.
You want to transform yourself in that energy and innerness. And so that's why you want to get out of the world and come within so you can walk your trueness in the world without, no matter what's going on. Like I said, I did another piece about on my channel about I think I did it better when I recorded it, but finding peace in the chaos, breathing, or just going and sitting in a car by something you like the water for me. A beautiful park can work. My thing about parks is me and the bugs. So that's all I got to say. But I will go. And there's places where they have controlled that without hurting them. There's a way to do it to keep them from coming to me. I'm like, because there's something about my blood that is very, very well, there's something emitting.
Your
Old
oxygen
blood type.
levels, they say, is what it is.
And I'm an old blood type too, so I had to do some research, especially for mosquitoes. They like old blood. They barely seldom go to anybody. There's some people that say they get it, and I don't know why, but I was around somebody who I found out had AB blood type, and I had O. The mosquitoes didn't go anywhere near them. So I had to go get me some citronella spray that I make and spray it all around till they left me alone. I had to put it all on my body, and then I was able to sit and conversate. They didn't
Okay.
go anywhere near that person. So yeah. So that's just a little fun little side note.
But
I
it's
don't know.
not just an O type thing. Because my mom, we have the same blood type. They eat me up.
That's interesting. So
They don't,
now
it's,
I'm getting
I
some more
learned,
information
so I learned from this ranger, park ranger. He
of
says
it.
that it has to do with your oxygen. Um,
Okay.
he says
Okay.
it's
I'll do
whatever
some
it
more
is, it's an
research
emittance of such.
from the
But
body. Oh
anyway,
God, yes.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
well, it is summertime coming up, y'all. So any food for thought,
I
this is how we roll.
I
So
spray myself down. I have found a bug spray that I like the way it smells. Because I think that's key. And I just spray myself down. And I just don't go out in the evening time. I don't go outside in the evening time
and that's the only thing. That's what I'm saying. Because we
without a
have beautiful
candle.
parks. Well, I do have some of them. Citronella, I don't mind spraying myself with it, so I made it. It does work. But I have to do my hair because they have went to my scalp too.
I know. It's so annoying it's annoying when they get in the weirdest spaces. I had a mosquito bite on the back
Of your
of
ear.
my ear. And I'm
Hmm.
like, why there? And I've had them like right here on the side of my eye, on the top of my lip. I'm like, leave my face
Yeah.
alone.
Well,
It's
we're here to give y'all food for knowledge along with this interview. So I'm just
clearly
saying,
we're
so
going.
yeah, but it's summertime. So
We've
however it went
exited
there.
the interstate here.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
okay.
getting
Sometimes you have to exit to come back on.
so now we're getting back onto the interstate here.
Yes.
I want to move into the sacred service, like living your mission now questions. How
Okay.
would you say that your service has evolved from serving a country to now serving the soul?
Hmm. Wow. I think this question be different for somebody. For me, it was one of the reasons that I went into serving was to learn something so I could be a protective force for those who needed that. And also really to educate because when even when people were doing something they weren't, I was talking to them. I was talking to them. I said my mouth was my best weapon. So I think I've always been in that service um, from from a soul perspective because I care and still do. So the country of protecting and war and having to unfortunately deal with that and have to have a militia that will always have to have unfortunately um is 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 projecting to people what I see in them.
Hmm.
So that is the soul level and letting them know when they don't know how important they are. So for me, one of the things I did in one of my as a law enforcement officer career, I had recognized something. I was recognizing how certain people were being treated by other people that found themselves a little bit more superior, um, treating someone in a certain field like environmental management. Well, y'all have a problem if it's not done. Somebody's got to do it, and to let them know to thank you for what they were doing, that it was appreciated. I don't like a lot of chemicals, but that was appreciated. And so that's where that's the essence of me in recognizing that everybody in a certain environment, and even these little stores, that there are certain people who just go to bathrooms that keep them clean, just the little things. And when it's not that way, somebody complain, but you're going to demean somebody who does that work. So if I have somebody I know of a cleaning service here, and I really thank them for doing that when I couldn't, and I don't like anybody, per se in mind, because I'm used to doing my home stuff, and that's kind of personal coming into a home. It really is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
just
yeah.
is. And then to be able to do that. And I keep mine pretty clean, even when they come, even when I couldn't, it's just because of what I use and how I do it. But to thank them and let them know that this is really appreciated, one of the just things that certain people just would not do. And there's certain people who will do it, even if it's temporary, that they will do that, and how important that job is. Because you hear people, oh, the bathroom, but well, yeah, so somebody got to do it. And if you do it well, I tell you, no matter what you do to the miscule, I think that's the word I want to get, of task, to do it well, because you never know who's watching.
Mm.
You never know who might see that attention to detail in you, that might pull you away from that to something else. It's something that somebody I knew that knew of my sibling, who complimented him. And she said if she thought that he would leave where he was at, she would take him with her because of his attention to detail, and she never had to call him to do A, B, and C. So I've mentioned it, and those are those things, of how see that in someone, this that variedness of them. Some of it may come from, high raised this way, but seeing that soul of serving, because I've always been there to wanted people to do the right thing, or to be present, or see me. I had people say, I just saw you over there. I was like, yeah, that's right. I said, that's why you better watch it, because you never know when I might show up. You better be good. So I have fun with them. So I'm like, yeah, I can get around. I'm a ninja. I'm a
Oh my
ninja
gosh.
ego alchemist.
Oh wow, that's a lot. That's a scary combination.
I can see things that other people can't see. So, and get, from one place to another pretty light-footedly, even though I walk very heavy. So it's just very interesting. So, yeah, I just try to honor that essence of people. Here's another example, if you want to know how I'm going from service to soul, is the other thing about homeless people. There's some people who have not been homeless. The reason why I bring up a certain movie would be The Family That Prays, is a Tyler Perry movie. I've watched it more than one time. I've watched it more than this. And so when you look at that, somebody has been in a higher level position, which they were in this company, were let go, and then all of a sudden what they had come accustomed to is just done. you feel a certain way. I know my mother feel a certain way about being let go from some place or having something go down when you were the best of the best of what you did, you know?
Yeah.
And then I've spoken home, people turn their nose up with smell, and I've connected because you don't know who you're talking to. You might be talking about the essence of creator, universe, divine. You just don't know who that soul has to share with you. There's a lot of people hoping that know some stuff because you don't know how they got to where they got, you know? So, connecting with people and listening and giving them the respect that they are because of the human beings that they are, you know. So that's kind of how I'm serving, listening, giving, food for thought while I'm continuing to receive it by investing in me. Um, and spiritual practices and things of that nature. And sometimes we can get off track sometimes, but we can always rein in. I'm using the rein in because sometimes we doing too much. I'm doing too much. So, you just got to connect back and come, back within. And so I just want to serve people and have them, have that peace of mind. I go scripture. I don't know a lot of them, but I do know Timothy 1. I think it's Timothy 1 about having being of sound mind and being of sound mind. I like at this stage and age that I just turned that I am still of sound mind, youthful spirit. I will age, but I will never be old. You call me old, that might be a spirit, that might be a little bit of a fight.
Oh,
But
fighting words,
not the other five words, figuratively. So
verbally
not
speaking,
verbally speaking.
verbally speaking. Since you
Yeah.
speak about how you have such a deep calling uh, on a community level, right? Working in community in that way. Um, what would you say have been some of your proudest moments doing this inner work that you do within your community in the way that you do what you do?
Well, I think more, I mean, just meeting people. I'm just getting to where I would do this on a level because I had been healing from military injury that had flared up pretty awfully. So my whole thing is I've done this like when I meet people on a one-on-one basis where I listen and then I just share what spirit brings to me to share. Sometimes it's not even from me, it's of me, and probably because of my diverse, background experiences lived in the lovely poem that you put out, of how I've transcended. I just try to share that same thing and get people to have aha moments about themselves and the value of themselves, because I know that value and worthiness was an issue which has a lot to do. Lack of worthiness is another one of those um limiting beliefs or things that need to be transformed as unworthiness, not knowing our worth or value, which when we do seek out of validation more so than we should because it's within and doing that type of work. And I just let people know, guys, and all that. I remember I had such a trust ratio with people that they shared so much with me. I mean, I guys that got their legs cut off. I mean, our
Mm.
veterans. I've been probably around a lot of veterans. I haven't, outside of that, done a lot. What I'm doing more now because of PGA Hope, which stands for, which is, our Youth Golf Association, and the Hope means helping our patriots everywhere. And so, and to get into that community that I hadn't kind of got in, I like my state because they have been so rewarding on that level. So, and so honoring us that sometimes I don't know what to say. I'm just like, well, thanks, for honoring. But so I try to give that same uh inner work. So my proudest moments is the reactions I get from people or anybody who I can give that sense of self to. Is just like, someone saying, thank you, I needed to hear this today. Or I might do that for my, do that because it's for my greatest and highest good. So I just think seeing people make shifts um is some of my proudest moments. Seeing people shift away from getting in trouble, shifting away from or having awakening moments, seeing that they pick up I love my godson. He's a smart little something. And the fact of it is when you think somebody's not listening, they really are. It depends on how it gets to them. And what I look at is when you touch somebody, no, and it's not that I don't like to try to get into right and wrong in such a thing of that nature. And so I like racing. So I do a little go-kart racing. So my proudest moments is that when I've said something and then I see my godson, he saw somebody else and he's like, oh, God, Mama Tina said that. So it comes back to and that, yeah, I know a little bit. I'm still trying to I haven't been go-kart in a minute. Last time was with him and but once I know something, it's on. It takes a lot to beat me. So, it's just the fun things of seeing people, and especially youth, learning and growing and doing something fun and and knowing that even with everything going on, there's good things going on in the world as well. So that's what I try to get people to see. And
Yeah.
then to pull away from, the news and things of that nature. So mine is just seeing people, have fun and have aha moments from what I say. And then I still receive from what they say gives me better understanding. Because I know that because I powered through some stuff, still have to, have to connect with that empathy part, of human nature. So, but
We're,
yeah.
we're gonna move into the woman behind the warrior. So the first question I have for you is when you're not transforming lives or burning down illusions, what brings you joy?
Oh my God. A lot of stuff. Dancing. I can do it with any apparatus. Okay.
Wait, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase
Dude,
that.
I'm
I
like,
I enjoy dancing.
apparatus. What
So
the hell?
even when I've been injured, I can use a cane, a crutch.
Okay, okay,
I want
okay.
to make sure people didn't go to the pole part. I haven't done that. So
You haven't
that's
pole
right.
danced?
Oh
Even
no,
for
I have
fun?
not.
Or like
Uh-uh.
you've never been
Have
on a
I?
pole? I'm
Oh no, I'm
girl.
sorry. No, not really, but okay, there was one in the party van, in the party
That
bus.
counts. It's a pole.
It was in the party bus.
Of course you
So
were.
yes,
Of course you would
so
be the one
yes.
on a pole in a party bus.
So the this was this was
Life of the
for
party here, y'all.
so oh goodness, yes. Yes,
She
the
owns it
dance.
too.
Yes, that's just natural, I just am, dancing, movement. I probably dance better than I walk. I'll put it that way. So,
Mm,
when
that's
I
a
get the
bold
chance,
statement.
yeah, it's for real. Finally have I had this helmet, so I like racing. I like racing. I haven't done it in a minute, but I've done the go-karts. I like go-karting. I like climbing. Um, I like biking. Um, playing cards. So we'll be playing tomorrow. So I have to get some work done in between that. Um, just a numerous stuff. We've got an inner place here. I haven't been over there since before the pandemic, which is wall climb. I really didn't trust the
Harness.
yeah, that thing for coming down. But It looks like it works.
I think it works.
So I didn't think it could hold me. And so I've taken that's into a couple of other places. We have one place here where we were you're suspended in air and you go through these different walking levels. And if you slip, well, you're connected, but nobody wants to slip. And then climbing these I used to do fences, so climbing these little nets, and they're not easy, and so it's suspended above air and you go through all these little obstacles up there and walk these paths. So yeah, I like testing myself and my ability as I grow older. So and now golfing. My dad army, he was army. So, like I said, we joke around with one another, but appreciate everybody. Appreciate all those who appreciate us. Once again, I'll throw that out there. But and so he was good. I just didn't learn. He was great. So I'm just trying to channel him a little bit and get those fundamentals down to just make it a fun game and not to be hard on myself because I do like to win. And I do challenge my own self. So there's just so many things. I'm just open. I'm open to many things. I haven't done a cruise ship yet. Somebody told me that I probably wouldn't do well on one, but I won't know till I go. So, but I doubt it probably for the reason why you're shaking your head.
I like,
That's the
listen,
same thing they said to me.
I like a yacht, not a cruise ship.
So a yacht, I was gonna bring that up because I was just thinking
I
about I
think you'll
haven't
do
been on
better on
one
a
of them in a long
yacht.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a good time. It's called the Good Time 3. And it's been 2 years since I get on that. So they have the little dinners and that. See, when I get on it, I could stay on it for more than 2 hours. I'm just getting comfortable. And then we got to come back to port. So I need to give me one where we are on there a
Maybe,
lot
but maybe
longer.
you would like a cruise ship. You don't know until you've been on one. I have, and let's just say I didn't get back on the boat.
Okay.
I took a plane
Back.
back.
Yeah, somebody gave me some insight of that. And so I don't know if that would work for me.
Mm.
Um, um, yeah,
But there's
yeah.
so
So,
many other adventures that you can go on that doesn't require you to get on a cruise ship too. So I think,
oh yeah, I've done some rock climbing. I was in the Red Rocks, Vegas. I used to do this. We have a park out here, and I'm pretty well. I was more daredevilish than I thought. Of walking on the side of a mountain and looking down at this river rock. Ain't a lot of water down there.
ooh, what about skydiving? Have you ever done skydiving?
No, my brother thinks I'm crazy, but yes, I plan on doing that.
Because they have these places that you can do feel like you're skydiving inside, where you're
Oh, that
like,
one where you laugh.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's another place that I want to
That seems like it
experience.
would be your vibe because you like to be in the air.
I do. I
Air
do.
or I don't know that you like to be on water like that.
I actually don't mind being on it, getting on to the Good Time 3 and even at the other state I lived in, getting on that boat was pretty nice because I'm just on the side. I'm normally walking around talking, but just being on the water, watching the water is really, really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I love that part.
Being in the air, to fly, to want to fly. I adore birds. I adore them.
That's why you like your
Um,
air stuff. The freedom of
yeah,
that, right? The freedom
yeah, it
that birds
is.
have.
It is.
Hmm.
That nature, just seeing the hawks and this the eagle just use the wind to just take themselves. The other thing is I did do is it that air where you get pushed on the back of the boat
Oh,
and then
parasailing.
up parasailing. And hang gliding is something that I've been interested in.
Would you do
And
it over, oh, the ones, would you do, I've seen it. They have an experience here. where you can go down into the gorge and do it. Would you do something like that?
I don't know if I'd want to see. That's the whole thing with skydiving. Skydiving, I think that I would prefer to. I would have to keep my feet running. I've been, visualizing how I could do it so my legs and my back and stuff don't be going.
While you're
But
skydiving, your feet will be moving?
no, as you're coming to the ground.
Oh,
When you're
sorry,
getting ready.
wait.
so, so you gotta keep moving your feet going so you don't just get so you don't get hurt, and just you just can't come down to the ground like that. Even though you'll have the thingy, you gotta keep moving your feet and run, then everything go
And you have
down.
to
Then I just
brace
thought
yourself.
about,
Hmm.
yeah, then I just thought about maybe just in the water, just end up, skydiving, and then we end up, in
In
the
the
water, and then
water.
the boat comes and picks me up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another option. I've seen people skydive. Either do you want to land on
Probably water. I thought
water or
about
land
water.
so water? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, having the feet position so and just going straight down and just bring yourself back up.
Okay.
So yeah, so I have
Interesting.
a lot of things when I'm not, transform, but my brain is always in that positive, joy-filled mode. So I'm open to numerous activities because I found out something about my soul. It can get bored pretty quickly. So
Hmm.
writing, reading that I want to get back into, but the writing, coloring. Oh, I like the color. I like the color. I just bought 100
Mm.
more gel pens.
Oh, you use it. I've never colored with the gel pens. I've never thought
Gel
about
pens
that.
and coloring pencils. Crayons too, depending on what I'm using. And I have an old school crayon 64 that I don't want to use anymore because those are the original colors. Um,
They don't, crayons
Original
are
Crayola
not
pen.
like the wax they use is different.
It is.
As a Crayola connoisseur over the
Mm,
years,
mm.
I can attest that the pigmentation and wax ratio is off.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
You used to
some
be able,
things
where you
that
used to
need
be
not
able
be
to
changed.
color and kind of be able to blend with them beautifully. It takes a
Yeah.
lot more elbow grease, I'll say.
Yeah. That's our oracle artist right there. Artist. Well, there's different forms of artistry. So, and then when spirit moves me, I'm into my poetry. So I'm also a poet.
Everybody's an artist.
Yeah. They just
So
don't know it.
yeah, they're not tapped in that way. Since we're
Hmm.
talking about celebrating things, how do you celebrate on the flip side your softness?
Oh, well, I just try to embody something that soothes me. My just being gentle with myself. Um, you know, I don't react, to certain things. I've been told that I've been that level-headed, woman, and I kind of honor that. It's just being soft. It kind of disarms being defensive. It invites you to just in that healing mode of and get into this space where I don't have anything to prove. So, I just sit in that joyful, um and people look at softness as a weakness, and actually it's not. It's because if you're in tuned, you don't react to certain circumstances like that. It's still very challenging not to react when I'm driving to certain cars. So I've become softer in
Oh,
that
really?
arena.
Don't say.
I just, I just, invite, there's silence, the energy that guides, other people inwards, to have that food for thought. I love that word. through writings, through symbols, through the way that I speak, how I address people when something goes down, I process things, even on a more heightened level than I have. Um, uh, Understand that there's no division among us. What's so interesting that came up for me, and I don't know if I've mentioned it before, I might have, because I think Bob Marley has come up before, is that we are more like than not. And understanding that we are one brings another sense of ease and softness. Like I said, I try to connect with everybody. People do things or are a certain way, but we can learn for everybody because we don't know what their soul may bring to us.
Yeah.
So, like I
Yeah.
said, whether you're homeless, whether you're this, whether you're that, and so sometimes you can't react. So it's about not reacting. It's about receptivity of what's going on. Because if somebody comes off a certain way, normally if somebody call you a name, you want to call back. For me right now, long as nobody, and I understand that even with certain essence, especially children who have that, lovers not fighters, other than if you put your hands on me. That's a whole different thing. But for me, if you call me out my name and I respond, then there's something about me that I believe is true about that. And I know that what ain't true about me, you can call me what you want to the day. So, so there's a certain essence about um what it means for me to sit in that softness and know that that is a power.
Mm.
Like patience is a power, not overly patient. Like I have been for certain things, not getting people to do what it is that they need to do within a reasonable amount of time. But patience is power. Um, Love. One of my quotes is, as I might have mentioned, is coming back to love. Love and understanding that love is our only solution if you connect with the love, but you have to know that you are love. You have to love yourself first and foremost, you know. And once you can get into that, then you can connect into into that softer area of your true nature. Because babies normally come in to this world seeking to be cared for. And for that, they are the soft. They're, connecting to that or connecting, to that child baby essence of caring for yourself in order to really care for someone else.
Mm. I think that's a really good reminder of when you kind of awaken, it's kind of like a rebirthing process,
Yes,
essentially.
yes, yes.
And what I always kind of sometimes I kind of forget, but then I always remember this about babies is that babies are born at 9 months, but they really aren't fully cooked, right? But because the woman's body can't contain the baby anymore, there's no more space, she gives birth.
Yes.
And there's that time frame where like the soft spot on the head is not developed. So there's babies are really vulnerable for the first like really like month of being born,
Yeah.
couple of months. So I think that's such a wonderful metaphor of how it just kind of popped in my head, kind of like what we're talking about,
Hmm.
as well. I think it speaks to what you've been talking about around alchemy, like the alchemization of
Yes.
it, and how can you honor meeting yourself at the same time, like where you are in that process, like the child that you're talking about, approaching yourself in a loving way and
Yes.
remembering and reminding yourself that you're this newborn baby, you've been reborn, like you're not fully cooked yet, so be gentle on yourself during that process. So, hmm,
Yeah, it's a ever growing process to transform, but I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel that battle or that huge resistance to step into who you were meant to be and who you are, and definitely pulling away from the pull and bind of the world and other people for that much. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
saying no unapologetically to certain things, certain people, and certain stuff.
Yeah.
And getting to know when. I can tell you the last 2 years have been, we're getting to close to that, have been truly a learning and enlightening experience. And last year for mostly of the endurance. And I can tell you right now, that you can tell when you are pushing something. And more you become aware, there's a certain part of whatever body, mine is my stomach and sometimes the head, methodical, that if it says no, then it's no, not now, and you definitely can't push it. And pushing it just causes a lot more stress and strife on you. And because we think we want this at this time and that time, and if it doesn't quite go and you're getting a lot of, let me see, what's the word, back, or mm, or it just seems to be challenging, then that's an awareness to back off, to back down, to
Yeah.
reevaluate that this might not be the now moment. Just like, in-house or some, that is a huge investment, is a huge, this is something that has to be just right. And I realized that, long as I have breath and I've been told I have longevity, all I need to do is just be patient, continue to grow, continue to move, continue to serve, and continue to invite opportunities, um, that that will make things happen in a way that we may not expect. That's the biggest thing. And then money is motivating everybody. It will come. We just have to wait. We just can't have the world telling us that it ought to be like this or it ought to be like that. No, the inner tell you, nope, not now. Let's wait. Let's take this method. Don't try to do too much. Know that you know enough. Know that you are enough. And you really have to sit into that. Um, into knowing you are worthy and that everything will happen in the timing that it should. Because I know I pushed and thought I ought to have this or I need to be this. And then a part of me is like, well, there's other things that need to happen before that can be acquired or even manifested. And so we try to compare. And so I realize, those things are not that for me. And so even though you think you're supposed to have this, I find out that obviously my purpose is to have not experience what I had, not to go through um um a lot of strife, to educate, to share, to make you aware, to let you know certain things, to help you to avoid, whether it be certain, abilities of other people, especially being a woman in this world. And I would like to really get to some of our young women. And I believe that I have the ability to connect with our young men as well.
Do you want to end it there or?
I just want to say, y'all, I just want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for listening. If you've gotten to this far, I want to thank you. I Holy Spirit allowed me to share in the depth. I know that if I hadn't grown to be this person, there's no way that I could share. And there's just so many dynamics to each and every one of us. And to grow and to touch the shadow sides or the dark parts of the things that we need to come to the truth. You're well worth doing that work. Sarah had on yesterday, it's like do the work, do the inner work. And I'm talking suffering is real within us. When we react and go zero to somebody and get defensive, there's something that we need to heal or something that we need to do to release and be, the essence and undoctrinating yourself from the world. I may read every day I die. So and it's a real huge piece. I think I mentioned it. And with the work that I get it out there and continue to every time I read it or perform it, which I'm performing it a lot. My expression is different because of the growth within and how and when that was written and why Spirit wrote it. It was a message. It was a message of what was to occur. So release a little bit of you that doesn't serve you. Sit down and figure out what it is that you desire, and not so much what you don't want, because anytime you write that down, you get more of it. So it's what do you desire? What do you want to, or more so use the word, what would you like to release or recognize about you that's not working to be the next stage, not what someone else thought you'd be, not somebody how your parents thought you ought to be, or anything of that nature, and whatever else you thought you'd be. Because if we're having this here, then it's not what it is that our natural spirit or soul wants us to do, because it should be more of a flow than a knot. So it's all about growth and becoming and being renewed within your spirit. And you can change any soul path about your desire. You don't have to be a product of your past. I don't really use or my family this or my that or this grows. It's just like, the dysfunction counts. I don't honor that because that's a dysfunction. So I look at there are some uniqueness about our family traits and things of that nature that we pick up on. Love is a huge one in the genetics of mind and that of service and that of caring and doing, because all we have is one another.
Right. Yeah.
So I ended on that.
All right. Well, thanks for being in conversation and willing to ask questions that were hopefully not too overwhelming for your brain to answer. I appreciate it. I'm sure those that are watching and have seen the previous episode, if you haven't seen that one, go watch that as well. So thank you again for agreeing to answer said questions. I appreciate you, and thank you for those that have already subscribed to the channel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you can receive future notifications of new videos that we will be releasing moving forward. And give this video a thumbs up if you just show her some happy birthday love as well. And share this video out to those other human beings who have ears and have an ego, which means share it to every single person that you know. I'm going to be quiet now and say goodbye.
Yes, any questions, put them in the comments.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Peace.